thanks to being on a first aid course, I actually managed to save someone's life doing CPR. And I think it was being in total control of the situation at the time. I get on a bus, sit down, notice the man next door to me particularly, and then I suddenly heard some funny noises, some chocolate sort of gargling kind of noises, and I thought, oh, that man's snoring or whatever he was doing. And then for some reason I looked at him and I thought, something wrong with that man. So I screamed at the bus driver to stop the bus, and the bus driver stopped the bus. We hadn't actually gone very far. And I said to him, you need to get everybody off the bus now. Something wrong with this man. I think he's having a heart attack. And I felt myself rip off my coat. And then I thought I didn't know how to lift him up. But there was a man behind me. And I said to the man behind me, first of all, have you got a phone? You need to phone for an ambulance. And then I shouted to somebody else to get everybody off the bus. And then everybody started staring. And I said, you need to get off the bus now. And I thought, right, okay, get yourself in control. This is what we need to do. And then I thought, how are we going to lift this man up? Because he actually slid down on the chair. And he was a small man, but he was quite a big build. So lucky for us, a man had stopped his car. He must have seen a commotion and he jumped on the bus. So the man behind and the man in front laid him down on the floor, and it had been raining, it was really wet. And I remember thinking, right, okay, and I ripped his shirt off, I ripped his buttons open, I didn't even undo them, I just ripped them open, literally started pumping. And the other man that had the phone, I told him to hold the man's head up so that he could get his airways clear. His mouth was bleeding, I think as he had his heart attack, he must have bitten his lip because he had blood on his lip. I wasn't too worried about that at the time, so I was screaming at the time, all the time, make sure you got the ambulance coming, make sure the ambulance coming, tell them I'm doing CPR. And I remember thinking, oh my God, my knees were hurting and I was sweating. And I was pumping away, thinking, like, this man's going to be fine, this man's going to be fine. And I heard him make a noise. I knew he was back in the room. I knew he was going to be fine. And he was kind of moaning a bit. And then at that point, I heard that the sirens going. I thought, oh, thank God, the men are here to save me, get me out. But I was still pumping. And they got on the bus and they said to me, there was 4 of them, and they said, just keep doing your CPR, just keep doing your CPR, because they needed to get all the machines ready and get everything organised on the pavement. So I kept going, and at the same time I was thinking, oh gosh, I was feeling exhausted, but my whole body was going, I've got to keep going, this man's going to live. So they took the man off the bus onto the floor and they paddled in with the electric panels. And then I went through his bag and found out that he'd actually just come out of St George's from the heart specialist. So I was telling them while they were doing that. And then he seemed to be fine. He wasn't fine, obviously. They stopped the paddling, did whatever they did, and then took him off. And then I was just given a slight interview by the police, and that was it. But
you regained consciousness?
Yeah. He went into shaking mode.
Well, that's completely natural.
Literally went into a complete shake mode. I didn't know. I kind of didn't even think of. I was just, completely somewhere else. Yeah.
But you're back with us again today.
Yeah.
Saved somebody's life.
And then not long after that, I got on another bus. Well, both of these things happened this year when a young boy fainted. But he fainted, as the doors opened, he fainted onto the pavement, and everybody just stood and looked. And I jumped off the bus and thinking, why is nobody helping? I assumed at the time that he fainted. In my head, he'd fainted. I think, well, just think what you'd have done if you would have been on when I was on the horse, you know. So he was with his friends. I turned him, sat him up, kind of put his head between his knees. And then I said to them, has he got anything wrong with him? Is he diabetic? Has he got any history of any illnesses? And they said, no. I said, okay, I think he's fainted, so we need to get him out into the shade because it was really, really hot. And I said, you need to go and get him some Coke, get him a Coke, give him some sugar, and then we'll get him back. And literally, I gave him this, sat him up and put his head up a bit. And he came round by then. And I gave him a drink, slow. I said, you sip it really slowly, don't gulp it, sip it slowly. And after 5-10 minutes, he came back to normal. You know, he was probably about 15.
Oh, thank goodness you were there.
I thought, my gosh, this is twice in a space of 4 months that something's happened. And I've never experienced anything like this before, ever. But I'm always on the lookout. I'm always, looking now.
Well, you've got the skills.
You know, Yeah.
And thank goodness you're
Yeah.
back now for another refresher.
I did feel very proud of myself, mainly because of the CPR and not being in a panic mode. I think if I'd have panicked, I mean, at first I thought this guy was snoring and he was like in a deep sleep, but when I looked again, I realised that he was in trouble. You could see there was something wrong with him, and the same as this young boy, he just sort of went like that and he was gone.
It can happen anytime to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more people that know these skills and that know how to help, the better for society as a whole.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. I think it's the panic mode. Don't panic. You know, you can do your best. You will do your best. And if you've been on a course like a first aid course, they will teach you this. And that kicked in for me. That literally made me think, okay, we're not going to panic. We're just going to do it calmly. Although inside my heart was beating really fast, but my whole body was very in control. Yeah, so I feel very happy. I feel very proud of myself.
You should do.
Yeah.
Should do indeed.
It's not an easy thing to do for CPR on your own for that amount of time.
It's exhausting.
It is, because you're on your knees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're trying to talk to the people as well, to get them, you know, whatever your situation is. I was actually on a bus and I was trying to get them off the bus. You know, and I put my bag somewhere. I couldn't even think about my bag at the time. It was only afterwards I thought, oh my God, my bag's on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere. My coat was on the floor that people had trodden on. You know, I didn't even put picking my coat up on the floor, so I couldn't even put my jacket on after. But it's just having that total control of remembering exactly what you're told at the time when you're training.
But somebody's husband, father, grandfather is around because of you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, good.
That is pretty cool.